Oh yes, happy May everybody. May 2015, May the 4th, 2015. H. Weber with you in the studios for another edition of Weber This Week. Today our special guest, Jan Caracillo, talking about the Trinity Church and a whole lot of other things involved in that fine church and all the organization involved down there. It's good to have you on a beautiful Monday, and I was telling Jan before we came on the air, and Jimmy, it's so nice to get some nice stretches of weather. They're talking 80s this week, so enjoy good golfing weather, good fishing weather, good boating weather, and we deserve it after the miserable winter we had. So it's good to have you alongside on a Monday morning. Lots to talk about during our sports break when we take our commercial break. A few sports items, a lot going on this past weekend, and we welcome you to our program. And without further ado, longtime friend Jan Caracillo. And Jan, your partner in crime, Kathy Jans Duffy, did not appear this morning. I think she didn't like the fee we were going to give her to show up. No, just kidding.
The fee is extensive.
I know. Welcome to the program.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Now, Jan, we talked. I was able to come to your event last year, the fundraiser at the beautiful Gould Hotel. Had a lot of fun there that night. But the history of the Trinity Church has grown, and talk a little bit about some big things. And also you want to talk about an outstanding book written by a gentleman named James Cutler. Talk about the history of the church.
Well, of course, the church started when Seneca Falls started.
Wow.
And the history of the church is almost the history of Seneca Falls. When you talk about some of the people, particularly men in those days, that were prominent in the church, the streets of town, Swaby, Day, Daniels, they were all members of Trinity.
Wow.
So it's sort of a history that goes along with the village, really. We began over on Baird Street when we had the first building, but they had worshipped, of course, before in private areas. And then that church grew so quickly that within 50 years we had to build another one. So,
amazing.
Which is when we came over, and of course we were up on a hill over the flats, over the village, and in 1915 all that changed, and of course we'll be celebrating that this fall.
Wow.
Well, August, I should say.
100 years.
100 years for the locks to become operational. It's called After the Falls, and it's August 7th through the 20th.
And I might add, Jan Caracillo, my special guest on Weber's show this morning. Good to have you alongside. Jan, of course, the church was hit by a fierce storm, destroying quite a bit of the roofing, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. That, of course, is now all fixed up, and it's a tribute to you and the organization and the great support you got from the community.
Absolutely, especially the support from the community. It was almost miraculous. It was great. It was a mini burst, and we put on the blue tarp, which added so much to the effect.
The famous blue tarp.
Oh, yes, yes. So, but we were able to raise the money. The work is completed. It's secure. Even the squirrels have moved out.
Really? Well, Jan certainly knows better than I do. Well, I was brought up on Spring Street, near the Generations Bank headquarters. And I would say, I don't have the statistics, but I would think the camera shot from over by Spring Street by Generations Bank, looking across the water toward the church, etc., and that little curve has got to be one of the most photogenic shots taken across the country when people come here.
They say
it's amazing.
Yes. In fact, I brought one that I remember from way back when. I don't know if you can get this. Do you remember that ad?
I don't remember the ad. Wow. Come to Belgium in New York State. 1962.
It was the first time the church had been used by New York State's tourism. So this was sort of the beginning. And yes, that view photographed so many times, and you know, the postcards in town so often have that view.
How many for all seasons too? The photography looks great in all seasons.
Yeah, yes. It is. It's really nice. As far as the number of parishioners that come to the Trinity Church, they're members of the Trinity Church, what kind of numbers are we talking about?
Is there any the same idea? As all churches. It's going down.
Up and down? Okay.
Yep, unfortunately.
And what's that? Because of the times and just
I think
people
society.
Have society as a norm?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of programs. We have some young families, which delight us
Right.
because that's the future of the church.
Exactly, yes.
You know, but we'd love more.
Sure. Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
In any church situation, I would agree. And it's a fantastic church, and certainly I have a lot of friends that pray there. And again, you have nothing but praise for what you folks have done and the efforts that you do for charities and help out people. Talk a little bit about that. You're just involved in aiding other folks that aren't
That's
as well off.
our mission.
Your mission. Talk a little bit
Right.
about what you've done for some people.
Well, you mentioned Denim Diamonds, and
Yes.
we are having it again this
Okay.
year on October 30th. We'll put a plug in for that.
That's fine. That's what we're here for.
Good. We like to help others beyond our own walls.
Exactly.
Yes, money needs to, we're the stewards of that building, and it's a huge job. It's an old building. There's constantly something going on. The roof now is finished. The tower's been stabilized. Now the windows need work. So, you know, it's ongoing.
It's like the house I had on Green Street, our first home and only home. It was 115 years. It was the old Rutz homestead.
Oh, yes, yes.
Billy Rutz's.
Right,
Yep.
right.
50
Oh,
green,
right.
50 green. And it was 116 years old we bought it. And here's a trivia question. An amazing question. In 1971, we moved from Geneva after being married for 5 years. We found this home across from Ginos and Phyllis Rapoli. And I don't know, I was making like $50 a week at Gould's at the time, not a whole lot of money. And we couldn't afford the down payment. And I asked the lady who was selling it, I said, how much you want for the house? And it needed a lot of improvements. It did a lot of work. It's an old house. $13,500. You can't even buy a car today for $13,500.
Exactly.
I remember that, and that was a classic. But like you say, to compare what we had as an older, and I'm not a technical, and Jim knows that, mechanical person. I don't do plumbing, and I don't do heating. I don't do electrical. I don't do roofing. I don't do any of that. I used to tell Mary, I work at Gould's, and I'm on.
Call.
Yeah, I work at Gould's, and I'm on the radio, and I do basketball and football games. That's what I do. Any other talents, you're not going to get it. So we used to build up some money and take care of a bedroom, and then build up some money and change the heating system. And it was never ending.
That's sort of what we do.
116-year-old house. I was terrible. But you know, we were there 23 years, and of course, now we're over at the school building, literally. And what's ironic about that, where we live at the school building near the library, we've been there 22 years now.
Wow.
And we're in apartment 101, down, looking out, you can see the grass above you, because it's kind of neat feature in the living room. But how things go around, goes around, comes around. That room where we are, in our living room at where we live now, was where I had shop class.
Oh, my.
Miners Academy.
Right.
Shop
right.
class. In that very living room.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, shop class. Is that weird or what? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't like we're in the second floor, the third floor. We're in the first floor, and that's where shop class, and I attended.
Sure.
Sounds like you should have paid attention in shop class. You could have done more home improvement projects.
No, Jim, I can't pound a nail straight, and boy, I got some scars on these fingers to try to figure out why I try it. No, I always said that's not my forte. 1-800, call someone and get them on the phone. Jane Caracillo is my special guest this morning here on the Weber Show. We hope you had a great weekend, and I'll tell you what, folks, talking about the weather, it's going to be really nice. Chance of a couple of showers. Played golf yesterday, and Jimmy played, but I'll tell you right now, that course is playing fast and dry.
It's like summertime already.
Oh,
yeah.
baby, don't hit it
Fast
at
and-
the flag. Hit it before the flag and let it roll to the flag. It was a good time yesterday. We had a good time. By the way, I played with Mark Sharman. We had a two-man scramble against Danny Martin and Brad Jones, and Jan knows Brad. And the good news is myself and Sharman took him to the woodshed.
Wow.
That was so good we beat him. Sorry, Brad, if you're checking out the show. Hey, let's take our commercial break. It's about 9:40 right now. When we come back, we'll introduce a brand new sponsor. Then we'll come back and talk to Jan about the gentleman, James Cutler, the book they're writing, and we'll get to that in just a second. Hugo Lake National Bank. Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora. A fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquors, Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her great team will find that right spirit for you every time. Tell Amy the dog sent you. Steve Wadhams, Wadhams Enterprises, your employer of choice. Proud supporter of this show and local athletics. Bob and Leslie Ullman, owners of the Ullman Theater in Lions, as well as the Newark Pilots, a minor league baseball team with a major league ballpark. SenecaFallsCountryClub.com, awesome 18-hole layout, offering a 12-month payment plan. Wilson Press, WPress.com, Seneca Falls. Rich Ricky, my good friend, and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Welcome back, everybody. It's a dog with you on a good old Monday morning, and I want to thank everybody, by the way, for congratulating me or wishing me adios amigo about me turning 70 last Wednesday. Just so you know, I feel good this morning. I haven't felt aged yet. I understand that might happen soon, but had a great time. I want to send out kudos to my daughter Sam and Izzy and Mary for putting out a roast for me Saturday night over at the Sons of Italy. Jimmy was there with Kathleen. We had a lot of laughs. I got crushed like a grape. I took so many rights, I was begging for a left. But it was fun, right, Jim? Had a good time?
It was fun.
Yeah.
The food was great, a good group of people, and a lot of laughs. And we videoed the whole thing.
Oh,
I just don't know if I can... I don't know if it's safe for...
No.
But we might pull out some highlights and maybe show them on this show next week.
That'd be fun. Oh, baby, it was definitely not a PG event. Jan Caracillo is with us, but before we get back to Jan, as Jan pointed out before we went on the air this morning, a big sports weekend. NBA playoffs are underway. NHL playoffs are underway. Baseball is steaming. And if you're a Red Sox fan today, you might want to put a little on your face. You had a tough weekend. Brad Jones likes to say on the golf course, I didn't see that coming if I hit a decent shot. But I don't think the Red Sox nation thought the Yankees would come into Beantown and sweep them. Yeah. Jimmy, Yankees are playing much better than I give them credit for. They're getting great relief pitching, good starting pitching, and some key hits.
Yeah, it was
amazing.
I'm surprised at the start.
I am too. I'm shocked at it.
Last night they tried to give that game away, but they held on. They swept the Red Sox. So
wow, in Boston.
Yeah, you never know in today's Major League Baseball world what's going to happen. But still very early, just into May. I hope that they can continue on, and I think it'll all come down to the consistency of the starting pitchers.
Exactly, but they're relief pitching. Andrew Miller, phenomenal, and. So the Yankees, first time, by the way, for you Yankee fans and Red Sox fans who are watching me this morning, first time the Red Sox have been swept by the Yankees since 2006. 9 years it's been since that happened. And, of course, horse racing, one of the greatest races of all time. I guess they say it's the most exciting 2 minutes in the world of racing. That, of course, being the Kentucky Derby, always run the first Saturday of May. It was held this past Saturday. Went off about 6:30, 6:35-ish. American Pharoah was the favorite, but it was a good bet. I my wife, I was telling Jan, my wife Mary and myself, always bet a couple of dollars at OTB on the 3 Triple Crown races because we were married on Kentucky Derby Day, May 7th, 66. But Jimmy, that horse, American Pharoah, come down the stretch and won it, and I think it paid $660, $680, which was an extremely great payout for a $2 bet.
Dave Barnick, our friend Dave, won a trifecta box.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless him.
And those 3 horses that the 3 were lead. It was a 3-horse race the whole way until the end, and it was exciting. But the problem with horse racing for me is I don't know any of these horses.
Yeah, I know.
But now that we have a horse to follow, the next 2 legs of the Triple Crown become exciting.
American Pharoah, the favorite, paid a lot of money for a $2 bet. I thought it was great. And Dave Barnick once again wins money.
He did.
Money goes to money.
He's
a multimillionaire right now. What does he need the extra cash for? But that's right, Dave. Send me and Jimmy a check. We could buy groceries next week. Hey, and by the way, speaking of horse racing, that, of course, the Derby, the Preakness, the second leg of the Triple Crown, will be staged in 2 weeks. And then, of course, the finale, the Belmont, is 3 weeks after the Preakness. So we'll see. Does American Pharoah have it in him to win it or to give us a shot at a Triple Crown, which hasn't happened for many, many years? And, of course, the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, a lot of people, I played poker last night with some of my buddies. They watched the entire fight. I wasn't about to spend, Jan, $100 to watch it in my living room.
$100.
$100 to get that broadcast to your house. I would pay $30, but not $100. But, Jimmy, they said, Jeff, a good friend of ours, said, there wasn't a lot of punches thrown.
A big dance. It was Dancing with the Stars. It should have been called
Dancing with the Stars. But let's not feel sorry as me and Jan and Jimmy sit here on the show this morning. Pacquiao and this Mayweather were trying to get together 5 years ago to get this fight. One of the richest fights, maybe the richest in the history of boxing. All the stars went to Vegas. It was at the MGM. Ticket prices. You couldn't even see the ring. We're getting $2,000 a seat. You couldn't even see the ring. You needed binoculars. Here's the bottom line. Pacquiao, by losing, got $128 million. Jan, we're going to have to give her a little oxygen over here. How about Mayweather? He won the fight, $278 million.
The California Angels payroll is $160 million. So
Can
in
you
one night,
imagine?
he made more than the entire team.
We
well
the
in a year.
suckers, the American and around the world, by the way, it's not America. Everybody around the world bets on these races because it's legal in Vegas, as you all know. 278 for Mayweather, 128 for Pacquiao. What is this country coming to, Jan? Pretty weird, isn't it? But it's only in America. Yeah, that's what we do here. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't spend the 100.
No, boxing's done.
Yeah,
as
it
a
is. I
sport.
agree.
I mean, a fight like that needs to be on at least HBO, but ESPN or CBS, these pay-per-view stuff, and those are really the last two recognizable names. Can anybody out there name me, two or three heavyweight contenders? Or
I agree. I agree.
The sport's over. They did it to themselves, so
I agree. Now the question is, will they try to have a rematch and draw some more? I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Anybody that pays for that is a sucker. I wouldn't pay. I didn't even think about getting the fight because I didn't want to give Mayweather any of my money. He gets the money. He's a woman beater.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
And really one of the most despicable human beings on the planet.
Best.
So
Yeah, and you know what? You're right. He's done it with 3 or 4 women.
Yeah, it's and a lot of those transgressions were in Vegas.
Yes.
And they kind of he was never formally convicted.
Yeah, right.
Because they protect the golden goose, I guess. But
well, and they asked the head of the boxing commission out there, a lady, she was interviewed by ESPN the other day, and the reporter asked why you did not pull his license, because he literally beat up a few women. It's all about the money. Vegas didn't want to lose the draw, and they got the big one at the MGM. So, okay, by the way, before we go back to Jan, I want to welcome a brand new sponsor to this morning, Cicino's. Live, laugh, eat, and enjoy the Italian way and also the Cicino's way. Sal Franzone has been a friend of mine for several years, and I've been trying to get him on the show, and he's agreed to come on. So it's great to have Sal and the Cicino's operations. Of course, Main Street in Waterloo, Exchange Street in Geneva. They do a wonderful job. They have a talented staff. They know what they're doing. You get in, you get out. The prices are reasonable. So
we order right online too, Doug. At
Cicinos.com. Oh, that's right. Exactly, Jimmy. The big point here, folks, is he does a phenomenal order online business. So if you're sitting home and you're in Seneca Falls or around the surrounding area and you want to bring in dinner, go to Cicinos.com, pick your selections, push the button, give them your information, and it'll be delivered to your home.
Yeah, Geneva and Waterloo locations. And the best thing about Cicino's, in my mind, or what most amazes me, is that he's been doing this for over a decade now. Actually, probably closer to 2 decades.
Exactly.
And it's so consistent.
It
is. You go to so many tough to run a restaurant. And he's got 2 locations, and he's just consistently delivering the product in a delicious product consistently, which amazes me because it's got to be difficult.
And by the way, Jan and myself and Jimmy realized they just had a survey, and Finger Lakes Times held a survey on the best restaurants, best diners, best wings, best pizza. Who got best wings for the entire 4-county district? Cicino's. So congratulations to Sal for that dubious honor too. Number 1. And I've tried them, and they're very, very good. So we welcome Cicino's to the show as a brand new sponsor. And by the way, if you want to come on the air as a sponsor of this show, we certainly are not outrageously expensive to be on this program. After all, I am the dog, remember. So
you're not Floyd Mayweather.
No. If you'd like to come on, whether you're a small business, a medium-sized business, or a big corporation, we would love to have you. There's always room for more sponsors, so keep that in mind. If you want to get a hold of us, just email Jimmy Senacropi or myself, and we'll hook you up. Well, Jan, back to the Jan Caracillo, a longtime friend of mine, back in the studio talking about the Trinity Church, all the wonderful things they do. And Jan, you're here representing them, but there are a lot of people that are involved in helping you and the church do things. I know my friend Ted Flock is a good friend. We graduated together. Talk about some other people involved on a day-to-day, weekly basis down there that really do a lot.
Almost everyone in the parish, and I think that's the secret.
That's the secret.
Yes. Everybody, when you ask them to help with something, they're right there.
That's great.
And it is great. We have the vestry and our 2 wardens, who, of course, are the leaders.
Okay.
But we have so many people that are just that.
Go through the leadership. Who are by the names? As far as
Betty Jo Canny.
Okay, Betty Jo.
And Irene Ferrante are our 2 wardens.
Okay.
And we have, let's see, 7 people serving on vestry.
Okay.
And of course we have Mother Polly, who is our priest in charge. We were very fortunate there when Martha Frashe moved back to Texas and left, as she was our rector for about 10 years. Mother Polly had a summer home outside Geneva.
Really?
And was available as a retired priest to serve us, so she's on a part-time basis. She's with us Sundays and Wednesdays, and if she's needed for a wedding or a funeral, and we're very happy to have her with us.
Well, it sounds like you have a very dedicated group of folks, and I can't emphasize enough, knowing you and knowing a lot of the members of the church, the giving attitude that you guys, you folks employ as far as helping out people that are in need. And I think that's important. And I don't think you, representing the Trinity Church, get enough credit for that. I think organizations, seriously, they give out this check for this, or they give out, backpacks or food when needed or stuff like that. I think we don't emphasize that enough. I think that's very important. It's just like next week's guest is Menzo Case is going to be here, the president of Generations Bank. We're not going to have him in here talking about banking, even though we'll talk briefly about that. But he's a big driver of the Habitat for Humanity.
Correct.
And they're looking to build 5 homes this year. And I don't think people realize the magnitude that does for people in need.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, I just turned 70. This is not my first rodeo, but I think myself as a media type guy that comes on and does a show every week, we need to praise people like yourself in the church and other organizations, and Jimmy's certainly well aware of this, that really give of themselves.
We were delighted. We did so well with Denim Diamonds
that was
last
great.
fall.
That was fun, yeah.
We were so tickled, being our first venture.
Oh, yeah.
And this year, the House of Concern, did not have that Feinstein challenge.
Oh, okay.
So they approached us, and we were able to give them a good-sized it was $3,000.
Wow. That's fabulous.
To start that sort of seed money.
It's great.
To replace the Feinstein challenge. And we were delighted to do it. We see the need. The last Sunday of every month, we have Neighbors Dinner Out.
Okay.
Which is a free Sunday night dinner. Lots of variety as far as what we serve, and everything. And that is well attended. It's
now, you mentioned the Feinstein Challenge for our viewers. Explain what that is.
The Feinstein Corporation, or Foundation perhaps, had said that with certain nonprofits, they would, would equal
what was
anything that was
collected.
Donated.
Gotcha.
I think it was a 2-month period, February and March, I think. And they decided to do something different with their money this year, and so that the matching funds were not available. So we made up the matching funds to start with, which was really nice.
And I'm sure you get asked by organizations to help, and there's some you probably can help based on the ability to do that.
Right.
Versus sometimes, unfortunately, you can't do everything.
Exactly.
It's like businesses, and Jim runs this business, and there's I've been involved with working with a lot of companies, and I worked at Gould's for 44 years, so I know about that. Barry Bradshaw, a good friend of mine, who you know.
Sure.
Barry told me he was the attorney up at the old headquarters on Falls Street, and I ran a golf tournament. I organized a tournament and ran it, my wife and myself, called the Weber Invitational, and I did it through the radio show that I did.
I remember that.
And we had a huge turnout of golfers, a huge turnout. Fun day. If you won first place in this tournament, it was for Camp Ancial. And to start off to be just a fun event, I invited 23 other guys. It was only guys the first couple of years. I got picketed by the women. Jackie Norcutt and a few ladies started nailing me at Gould's. How come you're not inviting us? It was invitation only. And long story short, we did not give somebody $500 for winning this event. We played them at Silver Creek and at the Seneca Falls Country Club. But what we did is we emphasized it's for Camp Anciawa. And if you go out to Camp Anciawa out in Ovid, and I urge you to, if you've never been out there, it is a spectacular place. The people that work with these kids, Jim, you've checked this out. It's fabulous. It's worth. But my point is, it started off a little teeny flower. It grew into a monstrosity. We were 15 years. We raised over $135,000 over 12 years of running it. And again, first place got a lamp or a $25 gift certificate. And I was able to bring in Mike Rizak, who Jim knows, some of the great golfers who really know how to play the game. But they weren't there to show their talents. They were there to support the tournament. We had the radio van out there on the first tee, live all day long. George Sewin let us broadcast it. Sure. It was really something that we had to give it up. I mean, after 15 years, my wife and myself were literally working on what we were going to do in January. And unfortunately, it was just too big of a challenge.
Sure. Well, there's so many, Doug.
Yeah, but we were very fortunate.
So many events and organizations that are working for charitable causes in the community. And you mentioned starting so early, like the Wonderful Run 5K that does such a great job.
The Rooks.
They're started taking reservations, and it's May, and the race is in December, and you can go on and on. But the business community, in Seneca Falls and Waterloo, pretty much headed up by Generations Bank, seems to be one of the greatest drivers of the charitable causes. They're very giving, because you don't know unless you own a business, I think, or operate a business, how many people come and ask.
Well,
$50, $100, $1,000. It's
but back on Barry, to finish the Barry discussion, I had this tournament, and I worked at Gould's. I made no reason, because I worked there, I was going to get a donation for the tournament that I ran for Camp Anciawa. I sent them the background, and there's a board that sit down and review all the applications for donations. And I was lucky to get one for the tournament, which they gave every year. And I said to him one day, I said, God, major corporation like Gould's Pumps, everybody thinks they got deep pockets, lots of money, which they do, but they can't just be giving it out to everybody coming through the front door. I said, how many, because he handled the request. He was the first to get them. I said, how many do you get? He looked at me, he says, you won't believe the number. I said, well, just give me an idea. He says, $2,500 a month.
Oh my gosh.
A month.
I believe
And that was way back when.
Sure.
2,500 requests. $10, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $600, and they would all send a background of why they needed the money. I couldn't believe it, $2,500 a month. I said, wow. And I was fortunate to get approved.
Exactly.
But I just think that we need to emphasize more of people like yourself and the organization, the Trinity Church, and all the businesses that help out. And next week we're going to showcase Menzo and his team. And unfortunately, we can't have all the carpenters and all the laborers and all the people that work on these houses in the studio. It's not big enough. We'd have, But that's what I really appreciate in watching people that give their time and their money and their assets to help out people. Right. And you guys should be really proud of that.
Well, I think we are, but we enjoy doing it.
Well, I look forward to the date. You said the Denim Diamonds?
Denim Diamonds is in the fall. What I'd really like to remind people is the program that I'm doing for anyone that would like to come to the church to see it. So often people have seen the exterior and have not been inside.
Good point.
So I'm having a program on next Tuesday night, a week from tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Talking about the history of the church, and they'll have every opportunity to come in, look around.
They don't need to call, they just show up.
That'll be May 12th?
Yes.
Okay, the 12th.
Yep,
May 12th.
7 o'clock.
Perfect. Well, folks, you've heard about the Trinity Church, nationally recognized, got a lot of articles, a lot of things, most photogenic picture.
Most photographed building in New York State is the title.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out the inside of it, get the information from Jan, check it out. A week from tomorrow, that's May 12th, 7 o'clock at the Trinity Church.
Refreshments.
Oh, yes, refreshments. Well, Jan, we're running out of time, but again, thank you very much for coming in. We'll get you back.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe we can come back and talk about Denim Diamonds, or
I would love to have you
the
back.
August celebration.
I would love to have you come back for that, and tell my buddy Kathy Jan Stuffy that she doesn't have to wear a prom dress to come on this show. I had to give her a little needle.
I'll be sure to tell her
that. Oh,
yes.
I think I got to share this because she told my friend Jan here this morning she was not appropriately dressed to come on this show. Hey, I'm a dog. I got a shirt on. I got my glasses on. Hey, I got even shorts on. You don't want to see these legs, though. It's going to be 80 today. Thanks to Jan Caracillo for joining us this morning on Weber This Week. Thanks again, Jan. By the way, folks, next week, Menzo Case is in the house talking about Habitat for Humanity. That, of course, will be next week's show. Not sure about the 18th. We're not doing a show on the 25th. That's Memorial Day. We'll take the day off. I'll let you know about the 18th next week. Take care, everybody. Speaking for Jim Senecropi and Jan Caracillo, this is a dog. Have a great week. Enjoy this beautiful, beautiful weather. Get out of the house. That's Weber This Week, my way.
By becoming a patron of FingerLakes1.com. Visit patreon.com/FL1.
Finger Lakes One.